podcast presented by Sports Mockery. My name's Dave. You can follow me on Twitter at Dave_BFR. I cover the Bears for Sports Mockery. Several articles a week. I'm joined by my co-host, good friend, Ficky. You can follow him on all socials. It's Ficky, baby. He was at the Saints game, regrettably so. However, it was kind of a fun matchup.
It was.
So we're gonna get to him first. But again, thank you for tuning in. BFR podcast presented by Sports Mockery. The season it's going. But Ficky, man, you were there.
Slowly.
You were there. Ground zero once again. At the Superdome. How was it, man?
Yo, first off, again, I say this, I am definitely a curse. Like, I show up to games and we lose. You know what I mean? So I got to quit. I got to quit going to these games, bro. But you know, I will say this. I gotta give Saints fans credit. Like, I already knew they were like a passionate fan base and like exciting. Like, Superdome was rocking. From the outside, the Superdome is like weird. Like, you're like it just like how you get in, it's like all like ground level, and then it's like you go in and everything's like lower. Does that make sense? Like, it's almost like half of it's underground, so it's like a weird kind of entrance. But like when you get in there, bro, like it is huge. And I promise you, Dave, for a 4-4 team, they were stacked all the way to the top, and it gets loud as hell in there. Like, it was so loud in there, and the fans were fun. So I just have to give praise to New Orleans and, you know, and the fan base, because we love to see that, you know, because it reminds me of Bears fans. You know, we have a much smaller stadium, but you can see the passion and the excitement for the game, and that was cool. So that was great. So other than that, though, like, I will say it was a competitive game. Like, it wasn't, we were in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I mean, for having 5 turnovers, you're not in a game, right? 5 turnovers, like, that's a blowout. 5 turnovers against Kansas City, right? We played them and we had like 1 turnover maybe, and they still dropped 40 on us, right? So imagine 5 turnovers. That game is over from the start.
Yeah.
So I, you know, as a fan, I'm like, oh, you know what? At least it wasn't like a crappy game. But again, it's still the same result.
So it wasn't a crappy
Another
game.
Loss. Yeah. So I mean, we're so used to the losses now that it really doesn't hurt. Like, Saints fans were kind of like dogging me, you know what I mean? Because I was dogging with them too, but they're like, oh, okay, you guys lost, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, we lose all the time. Like, even people were saying like, oh, good luck for the game. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna need it. Like, I didn't go into this game thinking we were gonna win, you know what I mean? So it's Tyson Bagent going against, at the end of the day, Derek Carr is a much better quarterback than Tyson Bagent. And the most surprising part is the Saints defense is like a top 5 defense. How we managed to score as many points on him, that was shocking. But like, they have a really good defense. So knowing they have the better quarterback, knowing they have the better offense, and they have a really good defense, like, I was expecting a loss from the beginning. So we played over expectations, I think, in my opinion. So that made for a good game. So overall, I can't it wasn't like a Green Bay game. You know what I mean? Where you're like hopes that you're going to play well and you go in there and you just shit the bed, you know? So.
Right. Yeah, I think, watching it from the TV copy, broadcast, it was actually very entertaining. Tyson Bagent was fun. That first half was interesting. He still had a bad pick, nice. In the first half, but it's like, okay, there was so much good. It kind of overshadowed everything that was transpiring there. So the Bears ultimately lose 24-17. I think they had 10 times to kind of tie it at the end.
Bro, it seemed like there were so many times. Like, the fact that we had a double doink game, you know what I mean, yeah, from both teams. Like 2 doinks on field goals where it could literally, if you go back, either of those could have won the game. You know what I mean? Crazy.
I tweeted it. I said on the Bears' first doink, I said that doink was so loud it sent my ass back to 2018. Like, it was. I don't know how loud. Well, you're in the Superdome, so you probably didn't. Did you hear the doink?
No, because it was so loud, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, on the TV copy, it was loud, man. It was.
You
so
couldn't
loud.
even tell. Damn. Because where I'm at, right? I'm like right in the end zone. So like, from that angle, the goalposts are vertical. Like, you can't see both of them. You know what I mean? So you're just, every kick, you have literally no idea if it's good or not. And then it's like last second, you bang. So it was shocking to like everyone, at least in my section, because you're just like, what are we looking at? It's not like a TV copy where you see straight behind. So it was kind of shocking to see 2 of them. Like, come on, by 2 good kickers, 2 in the league. So, but
yeah, it was
interesting for sure.
It was a fun game, which is weird, especially with the Chargers and how that kind of all ended.
Yeah.
I did not expect this to be competitive, just with the Saints defense. But I want to go through some stats here. 24-17, Saints win. They move to 5-4. The Bears are 2-7. They have the second and third overall picks. The Cardinals are number 1 now. Panthers is still number 2. They're a game behind, or half a game behind, because they played one less than Arizona. And the Bears right there at number 3 with their own first-round pick. So Tyson Bagent was 18 for 30, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a fumble, 65.3 rating. So I want to start here, Ficky. Let's start with some good. What was some good that you saw from this game that we can kind of take, with maybe Justin coming back, hopefully against, we're going to get to that game here later this week.
Yeah.
But what was some good from this game?
Okay, so let's start on the offense, right? First with Bagent. I'll start with him, right? Second half, obviously, it was almost a tale of 2 games, right, in the half. First half, or even throughout the game, him rolling out, he was so effective. Rolling out, throwing dots, getting first downs, even on his reads, like his RPOs, like he would take the ball and, I got to give him credit for that. Got to give him his flowers, because he definitely balled out when rolling out of the pocket. The second thing I would say is the offensive line. There were some penalties here and there, like Braxton Jones had like a back-to-back, but Tevin played well again, like he always had. I think he's like our highest graded lineman still in PFF. So he balled out. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 91. Tevin Jenkins, I want to touch on that because 91.1 PFF grade versus Saints. First among Bears players, first among all offensive linemen in week 9. So every single lineman that played, he was still number 1 just with that grade alone, and it was a career high. He also set a career high last week in PFF as far as his grades go. So he is just getting better and better. I think it was at 89 something last week. Now he's in 90s, 91.1. I mean, this guy, first of all, there was a pancake. I don't know. Again,
yeah. He had
on the broadcast copy, they kind of highlighted it. He is just so good. And I'm like, if he can stay healthy, we talk about it.
That's it. It's just healthy.
He's an all-pro type.
Easily. Player. He was our best lineman last year, and he looks just as good, if not better, this year. So that's a positive,
like
but also, young boy. Braxton Jones, like he had some penalties, his typical stuff, but like his weakness was bull rush. That D-line is not something to joke with, and he held his own for the most part, right? Obviously, he gave up like one big pressure, I remember, like on the outside, a guy just kind of beat him on a speed rush, but like he did his own. And Darnell, he had a holding penalty, but like overall, like if you were to look at the game as a whole, like the offensive line did a pretty good job. You know what I mean? Gave Tyson a good amount of time to sit. There was some place Tyson was standing back there, I swear, for 8 seconds. Like he would stand back there and he'd pump. And some of his big runs was because he was standing back there so long that he decided, I'm taking off. And he had so many rushing yards. So like he had plenty of time back there.
70.
So, offensive line, I would honestly we did not lose because of the offensive line. So that's good from the offensive side. I'd also say from the offensive side, which is good to see. Obviously, we all know Cole Kmet. This isn't a surprise. He's been playing like a top 10. Obviously, he had that one big catch, which was crazy. And then, his second touchdown, which was nice as well. Like to see a little bit more targets, but overall, he's playing great for his contract, and he's ascended every year. The second thing that was great to see is Mooney. Darnell Mooney one-on-one, like we already know that's, Darnell Mooney's like great. Good luck trying to get him. But he had like 2 big plays with that. That was great to see from him overall. And then obviously, DJ did his thing. He had that one bad fumble, but I'm not worried about DJ Moore. So when you're talking about Fields dropping back in, let's go back to this too. Dante Foreman is just a dog, right? Like the fact he's been inactive for this long. Yeah, angry runs, baby. Balling, bro. Like every time he gets the ball, I'm like, even if it's a yard or 2, I'm like, yo, you are running it. And the good news is too, is Khalil Herbert's coming back. So now we have Khalil back. We have Dante still doing his thing. And we have Roshan like as your third, kind of what we expected. I think Dante will still take the carries because Khalil's just coming off IR. Like I think that running back room is going to still be, dominant as they have been if this line keeps holding up. So I think when it comes back to Fields coming in, if the game plan is very like similar, but a little bit less conservative because Fields likes to throw deep, but you still have those rollouts and, run heavy offense. I think the offense is actually set up for him to thrive like he should. So I was really impressed with what the offense did, even though Bagent threw, 3 picks and had a forced fumble. like even if you take those away, we're still in the game. And that's because the offense did move down the field. They didn't punt till like the third quarter, I think. Like the whole first half, they marched down and got points or a missed field goal. You know what I mean?
Or a turnover.
Yeah. Or a turnover. Yeah.
It was, first of all, Deontay Foreman. Is it Deontay or Don? How are you saying
I think it's Deontay, like Deonte.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought so.
I think so.
Yeah. First of all, shout out to Kyle Brandt. He sent me this Deontay Foreman angry runs from a couple weeks ago, I think. So Kyle Brandt, friend of the show. First of all, it's amazing. Love it.
I love it.
I want to see like Herbert, maybe come back and win one. Maybe Justin too. But anyways, Deontay Foreman, 20 carries on Sunday, 83 yards, 4.2 a pop. His longest being 22. I just like the way he runs. He's not fast. Like if he had that extra year, I think he could be like maybe top 5.
Crazy. Yeah, bro. He'd be crazy.
He's just that's
good. That's Derrick Henry though, bro. Like to be that aggressive and then to also be that fast, that's hard to do.
But Tyson Bagent he had 8 carries for 70 yards. It was very Justin Fields-esque, the way he was kind of escaping the pocket and just making some plays. It was funny because when they called QB, I think they called maybe 1 or 2 design QB runs for him. Yeah, and he looks like Tom Brady run the ball with those. Like he just looks so slow because I don't know if the defense they're playing it better, but when he gets out of the pocket and it's not as designed, I mean, he just looks faster. He looks like Vic. He looks way more mobile. And it's the contrast. It was just funny to me. It was something that I kind of pointed out during the game. So his halftime stats for me, because you already went with your good and your bad. So for me, the good was the first half. Like he had 209 total yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have that pick, but he still had 121.5 passer rating. So they were limited. They were still making plays. Darnell Mooney, you highlighted him. I thought he had a great game. He finished with 82 yards on 5 receptions. That's best game of the season. He sees all this money going around. He probably wants an extension himself. So for me, it's still not enough to get that done, but it's like, okay, string a couple more games together. Mm-hmm. We can have that conversation, maybe get back to the table at the end of the season. So for me, other good things, Tevin Jenkins, of course, but the entire offensive line. I know you kind of touched on it, but I just have to do it again because during the game, I just could not believe the pockets that, like you said, Tyson was just chilling back there. And I had for when Justin's there, and maybe it's on him because he maybe leaves the pocket a little early. We know he sometimes has those deficiencies in the pocket. So the way that Tyson was navigating it early on, at least, it was just impressive. I was like, this is beyond his years. And I'm like, it was fun to see. And of course it was short-lived because the second half, that's where that's where I'm going to get to the bad here. And I think it's on the coaching as well. I don't know if it was this game or maybe the one before, and it can kind of go, neck and neck with this, but it's like every week, it's like, I don't want this team to get out coached in the second half because when they do, it's terrible. Like the coaching staff is so bad when it comes to the second half. You look at the Saints game and you could say, they were still out coached, but it was more so the turnovers that kind of killed them here. Getsy, he had back-to-back screen calls late in the game. I think one went to Velus Jones Jr., which I know it was a drop, almost looked like the fumble, but for me, it's like you just called a screen on the previous drive to end that ended. It was a 3rd and long. You're back in your own territory. Tyson's been kind of, throwing it. Yes, he has a couple turnovers, but it's like, just let him throw the ball, man. And so anyways, they threw a screen. Very next drive or very next play, they throw it to Velus and it's almost a fumble. So it's like, they're playing scared almost, at least Luke Getsy was, when it comes to the offensive play calling. And I get it. Tyson was kind of turnover happy, but it's like, what do you got to lose, man? You were 2-6 at that point. Yeah. You're playing with nothing to lose for the most part, but it's like this coaching staff, and even with Flus, it's like they're playing to lose or playing not to lose. And that kind of just hinders them. And of course the Saints, they snuck out of this one, but I really do believe if they would have not had 5 turnovers, like you said, this game could have easily been, they could have snuck out of there with a win. And we could be looking at Thursday as a honestly though, big game.
Kind of happy they didn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, because, and I say this, because we're going to get to this super chat real quick. Tito posts, and thanks again, Tito, our man Tito, $5 super chat said, tired of these fake Bears fans hating on Fields. Yeah, he needs to play better, but let's not pretend that this organization has done anything to help him. That's fair. Like, I feel like we do better play calling for Tyson than we do for Fields. And so why I say that is sometimes it's hard also to be like the coaching staff. I'm sorry, you throw 3 interceptions and you have a forced fumble, I can't this is the one time if I think he did come out because this is what he always does. Flus comes out and says execution. It's like, yeah, you can't if even if Patrick Mahomes did that, they're not winning the game. When Patrick Mahomes throws 3 interceptions, I promise you they don't win the game. Like, I don't have the stats in front of me, but when he throws 3, which doesn't happen often, but in a game where he's thrown 3, I guarantee they've lost the game, right? Because it's hard to win off that. You're giving another team 3 opportunities, normally a short field, to march down and get some sort of points. So, yeah. So, like, I think the biggest takeaway from this was, and again, this is not hate on Bagent, right? It's that hype of Bagent from his one game against the Raiders. That's a great NFL story.
It was an average game. He had one or 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and
160 yards.
I think the thing is because of like the story of it, which is like it's huge.
Yeah.
Like this man has done something that has not been done before, so he deserves all the praise, all flowers. At the end of the day, it's a rookie. This guy could have a long career ahead of him. So this isn't me to dog him or like make him look like he's bad. It's not. It's more of the narrative that's been built around him, where it's like, oh, this guy's coming to dethrone Fields. No, he's not. Fields was a first-round pick at a high, at a Power 5 school playing in the national championship, right? This is not the same type of player. Like, just because there's a Brock Purdy out there doesn't mean that all these stories end up being Brock Purdy's, right? Brock Purdy is an anomaly. Tom Brady's an anomaly. Like, this is not.
I don't even think Brock Purdy's that good either. We can get on that.
And that's fair. No, but that's fair. But that's my point.
More
is
of a
it's
product.
not.
Yeah.
Right. It's like this isn't like, oh, we just struck gold. All right. That's not what the Bears organization does at quarterback anyways.
Not yet.
So not yet. So I took away from this kind of like I had some retweets, some tweets out there that gave some traction where it's like, yo, like, let's be realistic. Like, let's calm down the hype. Let's be logical. This team is either 2 options. It is either Justin Fields' team moving forward, right? And we stick with him, or it is a new quarterback that comes in because of new coaching staff, et cetera, et cetera. We don't know who that is, but that is the case. Still a long season to go. I'm not counting Fields out, but those are our 2 options. It was never Bagent. Now, Bagent will be on this team next year. I can guarantee you that, because you looked around the league, right? There was a lot of backup quarterbacks, and I would 100% take Bagent over a lot of these backup quarterbacks that were starting from injured quarterbacks in the league, So maybe not Joshua Dobbs, because he's balling out. So overall, I just think that I got to give him praise to be like the offense did run smooth, right? With him in there, he handled it well for a backup quarterback. He can win you some games, as he did, but let's pump the brakes and be like, this is a rookie backup quarterback from Shepherd University. Like, this is not the future MVP where we're building a statue. You know what I mean? Let's relax.
I mean, so Tyson Bagent, when there's a lot to go there. I'm going to start with Tyson. First of all, he did move the ball. That's what was impressive. Like, you limit those turnovers. If you just do 1 or 2 turnovers that game, this is completely different. This team they may win it, like I said.
Yeah.
For me, Tyson, he is going to be on this team, mainly because I think he's a very productive backup quarterback right now.
Absolutely.
That's not where he may end up. He could be a starter, very serviceable guy. But for me, it's like his base salary is $750,000 this year.
Yeah, he's staying, bro.
You look at the backup quarterback position. That is a steal as far as how much you're paying. I mean, look at who do we have at camp that he beat out? He just won a couple games in Cleveland.
PJ Walker.
PJ Walker. He signed for $2 million guaranteed or something like that. So you look at this court, and then in 2024, Tyson Bagent's going to be on the books for $915,000. 2025, that's where it kind of kicks up to $1 million.
It's still not,
come on. This is such a steal for a guy that could, worst case scenario, his floor, backup, serviceable, could win you a game or 2 when it counts, especially when you get to 2025, where you're hopefully, that's where you kind of think that window for contending might be. I know it's hard to kind of envision that, but it's possible. It's possible. Yeah. Look at the 2018 team. No one thought in 2016, it was a long way away. But you got to 2018 and things change, especially fast in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, NFL, it's quick. So it could be.
It's crazy.
It could be. Yeah, you could be next year. You literally have no idea.
I want to get to Justin Fields because I think he does win this game. I really do. And some people will push back. I really believe he wins this game, especially if everything kind of stays the same as far as the run game and how
if it's the same play. If it's the same game
play
plan.
Calling.
Yeah, same game plan, absolutely. Because the running game was already dominant, and Fields would not throw 3 turnovers. Or
sure,
he would not
Fields may have
times.
a fumble for a turnover. He may have one interception, but he's not having 5, or he's not having 4. And so you take those away. I also think he makes a couple plays with his legs. More so, Tyson was making some, but I think he may even get more yards, if not a touchdown, on some of these runs as far as just the explosiveness there. So I think he does. And I'm not going to stay here and just, and talk about that too much. But I want to talk about CJ Stroud and the game he had, where he broke the rookie record passing. So him coming in, because you talked about this team is either going to be Justin Fields or another quarterback next year. For me, seeing CJ Stroud, and he does not have the perfect roster around him.
No.
He probably has a less ideal roster than Justin Fields right now, because Justin has some weapons. He has a pretty damn good offensive line that's coming together. They're getting healthy at the right time. So these remaining 7 games or whatever, for me, it's like no more excuses for Justin. Like I feel like I've been very soft maybe on him. You could say just too easy on him, but it's like seeing CJ Stroud and what he's done. And I know every quarterback is different, but it's like at this point,
Here's the difference, though, is that was an organization that was aligned with saying, we want this guy. You know what I mean? They picked who they wanted, right? It's everyone in the building is like that. Not it's never an organization where everyone, but as a collective whole, they said, we're drafting them. The people that did that to Fields are not in the building. Literally no one. So
that's fair.
Right.
But at the end of the day, CJ Stroud still has that talent. He has that ability.
Absolutely.
Where he's like already a top 10 guy.
Why I say that is that because of the game plan, and is it like we are crafting the game plan towards you, or are we crafting our offense hoping that you will fit? You know what I mean? Is it we're building an offense so it's a circle peg into a circle hole, or is it like, oh, our offense is a square peg and we're trying to fit a circle, square hole, and we're trying to fit a circle peg into it? So again, it's not. I get it. CJ Stroud is doing fantastic. 407 yards, 5 touchdowns, comeback drive. Like, I'm not disregarding that at all. That man is fucking balling out all season. But it's harder to compare because I'm like, this is who they wanted, and we don't know what the full alignment is. Like, we don't know if Ryan Poles is, or who the coaching staff, gets, all them are like, yo, this is who we.
But let's coach to his strengths. The Texans as like an organization are just, they're not like the Patriots. It's like, this guy has came in here. Sure, they are 100% sold on him, and I like that. But it's like CJ Stroud is so talented enough, and he has everything there that can kind of elevate no matter the chaos around him. And I know Justin, we've talked about it time and time again as far as the coaching and how he was kind of sabotaged his rookie year, Matt Nagy, everything like that. So I get it. And it's not, you can't really compare it too often. But it's like right now, though, it's like, this is where he has to go, because it's the best scenario that he's going to get probably with the Bears right now, if ever, just because of the offensive line, the weapons around him. Cole Kmet, who is kind of ascending into a top 10 tight end. It's like, this is it, man. This is, first of all, stay healthy, and then let's see what you got. Just let it rip. And if the coaching staff is just don't even care. Like, I know he said he's going to play his game. Continue to do that, man. Like, obviously he had 8 touchdowns in 2 games. Let's keep it going. But CJ Stroud, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, 2,270 yards, 102.9 passer rating. And he's throwing to guys like, well, first of all, Tank Dell's not bad, but
he's a rookie. He's a rookie, but
it's just shocking. And it opens your eyes a little bit, where it's like, okay, I know we make a lot of excuses for Fields, and there is a lot of valid excuses, but now it's okay. Enough is enough. Otherwise, we have to go out and find our own CJ Stroud.
Here's me playing like the devil's advocate, right? I 100% agree with you. Fields, like we've said this, he has it's about to be week 8? No, 2-7. So it's week 9 or week 10. He has 7 more interviews left, right? So I get it. Like, he has 7 more interviews for the employer to be like, yes, you keep your job. You know what I mean? So 100% agree with you on that. That like, he needs to come out and just play really well to convince everyone that you are the future, right? My thing is, though, the quarterback position is it's much different than other positions. You have quarterbacks that come out and some of them ball out immediately. You know what I mean? You have CJ Stroud, first of all, is an anomaly because he's breaking records, right? This isn't like this. When you're breaking records, you're an anomaly, right? Because it hasn't been done. So he's doing some stuff that hasn't been done before. So he's obviously an anomaly. But you also have some quarterbacks that take a minute. Peyton Manning, first year, interception record for rookie. You tell me after the first year, you're like, oh, that's the guy. After that, I get it. He had the next year, he definitely bounced back much better. And everything's not apples to apples, but some people, it takes a little bit longer because there's so many factors that go into it. You know what I mean? We talk about it, coaching staff, the organization itself, the weapons you put behind it. You know what I mean? So it's so hard to evaluate like what this is going to be. And then also the hardest thing too is like, there's no guarantee that if we get Caleb Williams or Drake May, that they'll be good either. You know what I mean? Like, if we look at it now, and again, we don't know. It's just 1 year, right? CJ Stroud could easily regress and Bryce Young could go crazy. But we look at it now, the number one overall that everyone was consensus about, right? Even with the height, is not playing that well. He just threw a pick six last game. So, I mean, and we go back to Peyton Manning's draft. It was who was in front of him that ended up busting, who went 1 before Peyton went 2. I can't remember. Well, I can't think of his name. Went to the Chargers, but he was supposed to be,
Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, Ryan Leaf. Yeah. So Leaf was supposed to be, generational. This is the guy. You're going in front of Peyton Manning, bro. Like, and people felt that was right at the time. Yeah. Didn't work out. Like, there's Jamarcus Russell.
Well, when it comes to the quarterback, man, it's a crapshoot. It's like it is the hardest position to get right, and sometimes you just have to luck into it. Look at the Bengals. Look at the Texans now. It's just these teams that struggle year after year. Once they get their guy, once they get the guy, everything else around them except for the Chargers. I mean, Herbert, I don't know what's going on there. Like, 'cause we saw it firsthand how good he is. I don't understand how they're not better sometimes.
Well, he's had some bad games too. So, like, that's my thing. It's like these elite, like, and I know Burrow was injured, but Burrow's first 3 weeks were doo-doo. They were not good. His past ones, he's back to Burrow form. So it's like,
he always starts slow too, which is odd.
It is. So and you look at like the career of Josh Allen, right? Everyone thinks Josh Allen's elite, and he turns the ball over a lot, still does, but he's an elite quarterback. That man took 4 years to figure it out. You know what I mean? And Hurts took a little bit. It's like there is no clear cut, like, oh, you have to do this and you'll be successful. The problem is when we have like a Patrick Mahomes, right? When we have a Patrick Mahomes level quarter, like when he came in and did what he did, everyone's like, oh, that's the recipe. You have to come in immediately and just ball out, right? That's not the case. That's not how it works. And I'm not giving an excuse for Fields. I'm just saying we could restart this whole thing. And then it'll be 3 years down the road, and we're like, why doesn't Caleb Williams have it, right? We just don't know, and that's what's so tough about the quarterback position. That's why we haven't had a 4,000 passer in our history. You know what I mean? So like you said, Fields got to come in. He's got 10 more games or something like that. Whatever the number is, he's got X amount of games to prove that he deserves to be on this team moving forward, and then we'll just have to wait and see how it works. So it's in his hands. You know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. I want to get to the defense a little bit. They've been playing, better. Me, at least I think they have. There's been spurts where it's but it's the pass rush that's a little bit concerning. So we didn't do an episode last week just because there was a lot going on. So we didn't even get to talk about Montez Sweat and that trade, the extension, go through those emotions. So Ficky, I want to kind of get your thoughts on, first of all, Montez Sweat coming to Chicago, the extension within itself. I want to give it a grade maybe. And then also what you saw from the pass rush on Sunday, regarding Montez Sweat. I have an opinion on it, but again, we weren't able to talk about it. So before we hop into that though, if you're enjoying the show, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. It does help the channel grow, helps the pod, of course. If you're on Apple, Spotify, a lot of listeners over there, we appreciate you. Go ahead and rate the show, rate the pod. But again, Montez Sweat, we didn't get to talk about it, man. We didn't get to see much of him on Sunday. However, there are some stats, which I'm not sure if you're going to get into, but I have them.
I got some.
Okay.
Yeah. So first off, this is great. This is funny because I was actually at Thanksgiving with Montez Sweat last Thanksgiving. And so I was talking to him, I was like, yo, Washington organization, it's trash. You know what I mean? I know he won't agree too. Yeah. I had Thanksgiving with him because his sister, basically my girlfriend's brother, had a kid with Montez Sweat's sister. I saw her at the game as well. Yeah. Okay. So she said she's going to get me a jersey. So that's nice. So I don't have to buy one. So
get it signed too.
I hope so. But basically, I was joking with them because at Thanksgiving, my girlfriend's dad's a Jets fan. He's like, "Oh, come to the Jets, come to the Jets." I'm like, he's not going to the Jets. He's going to the Bears. We need a defensive line. You guys have one. Like, if anyone trades for him, we're trading for him. So it's kind of funny when I saw the news. I was like, hey, actually got that one right. But overall,
you were on that
first off, the trade is great. I said this. You can go back podcast. I said if we're gonna trade for someone, my preference is Sweat over Young. Way more productive, hasn't missed a game. Like I like that consistency. You know what you're getting. I'm tired of like, oh, maybe he'll be this, he'll be that. A lot of times they don't. Like potential is how you lose games. I want something that is proven that they're going to be that, and that's what I like. You know what I mean? And so I think that the trade was great. I think the deal was great too. I think where he's at now, he's like 5th for defensive ends, but like by like 3 years, he'll be like 17th. I think like PFF Brad, there's a tweet about that, but like basically the way that, how, every year the contracts get bigger and bigger. Like it will be a good deal in like 2 or 3 years. And it's a good deal now. So I like that he's locked in because everyone was worried about polls. Oh, he's not going to pay him. He's not going to pay. And I'm like, bro, you don't trade second round and think you're not going to get a deal done. Okay. So I think that's great. Second thing, when it comes to performance, I guess is a third thing. When it comes to performance, he wasn't obviously in on every down. I think he only had 25 snaps or something like that. And like he wasn't, there were some times I was like, yo, this is third down. I think it was the second drive of the game where they were like moving the ball easily. He was not in that drive at all. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. If I don't see Sweat in there, I'm sure that's our weakness is obviously gotten weaker. So like,
Montez Sweat, he played 41 snaps, which is 65%.
Oh, 25 rushing. Pass. He had, it was 41 snaps, but 16 of them were run plays.
Yeah.
On the pass plays, he had 4 pressures? I think it was like 17% or something like that, which isn't bad for your first game.
No. And again, he only played 65% of that game. So it's like he still was kind of on a snap count per se. As far as those in-depth stats when it came to his pressure. So he had a team high 4 pressures on 25 pass rushes. Which is a 16% pressure rate with a 2.73 second average time to pressure. So he had about almost just under 3 seconds to get to the passer, which is average, I think, as far as just Derek Carr getting the ball out pretty damn quick.
Well, to be fair, he was because we were playing stop. You saw the passing chart. If you look at Derek Carr's passing chart, the past four weeks, there's deep passes all around. This week, because of our soft cover 2 zone, you know what I mean? You're dinking and dunking, and you saw that. So it's hard to be like, yo, how do you get to the quarterback, Derek Carr, if he's releasing the ball at like 2 seconds every play? Like there was like no big deep pass. There was like, he had like 2 attempts where it was over 20 yards and they were incomplete. You know what I mean? He did not have a big passing play because we were playing that soft shell. So like I look at that and I go, okay, you just touched down in the city. Right, you barely practiced with the team, got out there, still was our highest grade defensive lineman, and he had a crucial pressure on that third down where he almost like stripped it and it kept us in the game like in the fourth quarter, and that's what you want, right? So like I look at it overall based off circumstances and whatnot, and I go, yeah, that's what we paid for. This isn't TJ Watt, right? We're not expecting him to be back there every play. The man plays the run amazing, like top DN against the run. And he's above average pass rusher. You know what I mean? He's got 6.5 sacks this year. So I take all that in and be like, I don't think he's going to disappoint. Like, I don't think we're looking at this deal and being like, oh, you didn't live up to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much it's worth, who he is overall as a player. I know we just love sacks, but it's more than that. You know what I mean? Well, so I think overall he did well.
The biggest thing is, Yannick Ngakoue on the other side. Like you would hope to maybe get a sack this game, just with those 2 alone. But missing that 3 technique within Eberflus's defense, it's been said multiple times. I think it's been talked. Yeah. Adam Hogue talked about it, which I think they've talked about on CHGO. It's just this 3 technique is so important. I think it's was it DeForest Buckner?
Buckner and Indy. Yep.
Yeah, like it was just the engine. And you look at, again, first of all, I love Darnell Wright. I think they made the right choice for whoever the quarterback is going to be in the next 10 years, because I think he's going to be here for a while and he's going to be a staple in this offensive line, him with Tevin Jenkins. But it's like Jalen Carter could be Hall of Fame potential type player. Like it's crazy how good he is. And I know we passed on him, but it's just I would love to see him. So first of all, Sweat, Yannick Ngakoue, and then Jalen Carter in the middle. Like, give me that.
Well, here's the thing, though. Yannick's not going to be on this team next year.
No,
I guarantee he'll go somewhere else, right?
No, and he's a one-year flyer type
so
guy.
It's a rental. So I'm not even worried about that. And Jalen Carter could be a Hall of Famer, but the best rookie tackle in the league right now is Darnell Wright.
That's what I'm saying. I kind of want both. I'm not saying I want Darnell Wright over it. I just want a guy like Jalen Carter. I want someone in the middle of this defense to be able to.
We've had such a bad offensive line for so long that I am happy with that. Like, I get it though.
Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, which Braxton Jones had a tough. I mean, he had some penalties. So I mean, he's gonna have to get used to kind of
first game back
playing football again.
Yeah,
but the pass rush right now, according to PFF, they are dead last in the NFL. They have a 54.8 grade. Which is just so low.
We're not surprised though. I mean, look at the roster. You know what I mean? Now it'll go up a little bit with Sweat. I know, but the thing is, we said this. Me and you both said this preseason. We said this defensive line is.
I think with Montez Sweat, I think they will get a couple more. Especially the thing with the defense, and I know we're talking about them predominantly, is I want to see them get a little bit more exotic. Like, I don't know if they were doing that here the last couple of weeks, but I guess with Montez Sweat coming in, they thought maybe they could get home without sending as much, but that's not the fucking case. Like, you're still going to have to send
Kyler. They sent Kyler a couple times, but other than
Edwards,
that, I didn't really.
I think they sent Edwards once.
By the way, I forgot we didn't talk about the good about the defense. Yeah, Edwards minus week 1 has been amazing. He's
and that Austin Eckler missed tackle.
Yeah, I know, right? But that one was bad. But overall,
so that's hard to do, to take him down.
I mean, he is Austin Eckler, so he's a baller for a reason. But looking at it two ways, if you look at stats and PFF, he's a top 10 in most categories, so that's good. But the eye test, bro, seeing it from a broadcast view when I watch the games from home and watching him at the games I've been to, he's almost on every play. He's making the tackle, or he's almost he's in the vicinity, whether he's blitzing in coverage or stopping the run. He is all over the place. He has been a great signing, and he has looked so good. And then also, go ahead.
I was going to give you, so first of all, 81 overall PFF grade, 15th among linebackers. He has an 83.7 run defensive grade, tied for 9th among linebackers, 13 TFLs for no gain. Or TFLs or no gain, 3rd in the NFL, 38 defensive stops. That's 2nd best in the NFL. 3 quarterback hits, 2 sacks, both tied 3rd amongst linebackers. So,
what was that? Balling.
Did I say corners and safeties?
I wouldn't say. I was about to get to this. I was about to get our other good is Jaylon Johnson. Still look good. He did not give up plays. I think he had a deflection as well. TJ Edwards also had a beautiful deflection, I think, on Chris Olave in the middle on 3rd down. That was nice. But JJ, I think right now, if we go PFF again, I don't just use PFF. I know you don't either, but eye test as well. These guys are balling out. So I think he's going to get his extension. But I think I saw that he is the highest graded cornerback in the NFL right now, 86.3, and the highest graded coverage at 88.9, bro. So he's looking good. I hope he gets an extension. He has not sucked. That is for sure.
If they did contracts based off PFF only, he would be getting
he'd be
paid right now.
Pay money, yeah. And they might use it. I mean,
but they also have more than just, this is what? How many games is this? Is this 9 games?
Yeah, they have the past 3 years of
throwing the injury concerns.
Yep. And I think he'll get an extension, to be honest. I really do. And what's a good thing about him? In the last week's interview, he was basically someone asked him, would he be upset if, Montez got a deal before him, right? And he's like, of course. Well, he went the opposite way today on Parkins and Spiegel on, the 670 The Score. And he basically said, they asked him, are you upset with the deal? And he said, if you understand the business, none of it surprises me. You're not going to trade a 2nd-round pick to bring in a big-time level player to not sign him. You have to sign him. You have to take care of him. He's a high-quality player, a top guy in the league at this position. None of it surprises me. I don't feel any kind of way except excitement for him and looking to get my turn when that time comes. I'm in a position where I'm not tripping off the timing. He's been like that throughout the whole thing. I honestly think this doesn't feel anything like the Roquan or stuff like that. I think they're going to get a deal done. In my honest opinion, if not, they'll do a transition tag. I don't think they'll do the franchise. I think they'll do the transition where it's like you go out and if you get an offer from another team, we have the ability to match it. So in essence, it's going to be
like the NBA.
Yep. Poles is going to be like, well, you know what? We see your value at 16 million. And he'll go, all right, well, we'll go look elsewhere. If a team comes back with 17, Poles can be like, all right, we'll match it then. You know what I mean? You know, maybe a team comes back lower, then he's going to come back to us and we'll be like, all right, we'll take that. So
yeah, I was looking at like contract projections. I think they had him at about 20 and a half a year.
That's fair. That's fair.
A lot. It's a lot.
It is.
I mean, but the corner is a premium position.
I say it is. It's not. It's also not our money. Like it's another thing too. It's we're not in cap space hell. We have to spend the money.
Maybe we just have that. Maybe we have like that poor mindset from like Ryan Pace, where we're like we don't have enough. You know.
But he would
maybe
also,
a lot of fans have that.
He
that
would
mindset.
also. They would be old players too, though. You know what I mean? That's where it's different.
Yeah.
You are paying younger players that are Montez is 27, might be turning 28. JJ, well, Komet's 23, 24. JJ's what, 24 as well. So it's like these are the first deals, right? These are people coming off the rookie deals that you're paying. We're not trading for Khalil Mack, who's on his second deal, and then paying a massive extension, So I'm not mad about it.
The reason why, I think the corner market might be reset here soon. Not by Jaylon Johnson, but you look at Jaire Alexander on the Packers. He's 26. He's averaging about 21 per year. That's an $84 million contract for 4 years. So 21 is where he's at, and he's the best corner supposedly in the NFL. Denzel Ward's just behind him at 20.1 million. So it's like JJ would be getting that type of money, and maybe it's a little bit foggy, unclear because of like the market is probably going to go up. Not with Jaylon, but maybe with a Sauce Gardner here in a couple of years or a year, where he could be in that 25, 26 type range. So it's like that's where seeing that number, I just would like it to be around that 16 to 18. That's where I feel a little bit more comfortable. Not that it's my money, but more so just I don't want to overpay too much for a very good player. But
Poles is not gonna elite. But Poles has been so like if it was somebody else, I would be like, we'll overpay. Poles has not overpaid. The man will say no. Like there at least so far, we can only go off what we've the resume he's delivered so far.
The only thing he's really missed on is like Claypool, which is funny because I want to say Montez Sweat. Did you know on the broadcast? Oh, you didn't listen to the broadcast that Montez Sweat is renting out his old place.
I saw you tweet about it. And I was like, where did this information come from? But that's funny.
Yeah, it was on the broadcast.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So,
because I think it's like at the hotel or something anyways. So that's what they do with the new players until they settle down. But now that he's locked in, the most important part is that he's locked in. That's great. The trade now, all that talk about, second, round, whatever. It's so hard to find. For D ends, it is very hard to find someone like Montez Sweat. And people even better than him don't hit the market. Even people on Montez Sweat level normally don't hit the market.
No, he was never going to hit the market. If the Bears didn't send a second, someone else was going to do it. Yeah, in my opinion, Washington was looking to shop him. I think they had a couple offers, and it was the Bears that kind of obviously when you look at that second rounder, it's enticing.
They swooped in at the very end. He was going to go to Atlanta because he's got family there. Obviously, like his family lives down there, and he's originally from there, and so. Actually, is he originally from there or Missouri? No, actually, he's originally from Atlanta, I'm pretty sure. But he was going to go to Atlanta, and then basically we came in and swapped and said, here, well, you take our second. And obviously our second is much more likely to be much lower than, or much higher, whatever way you look at it, than Atlanta. And so he got sent here. So,
yeah. I mean, he was born in Kentucky, but he played high school in Georgia.
Missouri. Got you. Okay. Yeah, I thought so. I thought most of his time was in Atlanta. So,
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's exciting. I'm excited about Montez Sweat. I think the defense, they still look serviceable. I think Matt Eberflus is a very good DC, not a great head coach, just a bad head coach. But again, Ryan Poles talked very highly of him about a week ago, talked about how he's a leader of men. And so we'll see. We'll have a lot of, conversations here in the future about what they should do at the coaching spot at the end of the year. But Ficky, man, we'll kind of end this one, keep this one a little bit shorter than others because we're going to be back in, less than 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days. We got a game Thursday. So
we got a game Thursday. And then, of course, we'll have a post-game Thursday night right after the game, after Justin Field lights it up, coming back and beating Bryce Young, where the Bears can't, if they win twice on Thursday, which we'll get to all that, on Wednesday night. But Ficky, man, any other parting thoughts, any questions we need to get to before we end the post-game show? Again, sorry for this one not being right after the game. Ficky is traveling.
Gosh, I'm in a hotel right now.
He's in a hotel right now. As you can see, work. It's like I said, mid-season, we're kind of just going with what we can, make work. But everyone that's tuned in, everyone that's kind of asked about the show, just sticking around, we appreciate it.
Yeah,
Apple, Spotify listeners, shout out to you guys listening as well. And again, leave a like if you enjoy the pod, sub if you want to be here for the rest of the season, and eventually a Bears Super Bowl. We'd love to have you.
You might be sub for a minute.
Just
we
appreciate
that in.
It.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but for real, the support has been crazy. We're, I believe, very, very close to 2,000 subs if we haven't hit it yet. So we're going to be doing a jersey giveaway or some type of big giveaway for you guys once we hit that 2,000 subs if we haven't already hit it there. Follow us on Twitter.
Please.
It's Ficky Baby, Dave_BFR.
And,
you can follow the pod.
And the BFR pod. Yep.
BFR_pod on Twitter. And of course, you can check out my work on sportsmarket.com. Ficky, before we go, man, any other final thoughts?
I'm ready for Fields I hope Fields comes back Thursday. So when I'm watching from home, I can be excited. Good for Tyson and whatnot, but I'm ready. The final that we said this from week one, before the week started. This year, the number one goal is the evaluation of the quarterback. We still don't have an answer. So we need him to get back so we can get to that answer quickly, right? So we can figure out new quarterback or not. So again, both of us agree the fan in us wants Fields, but we just need to figure out what we're going to do with that position.
He's got to go out there and prove it, and the Bears got to help him out, these offensive players, his offensive line. If they can play like they played on Sunday and limit the turnovers, I think they have a very, very good chance of, hopefully beating the Panthers, which – we
need that because we need that pick to keep dropping. And one last tidbit that came out, right? The Kyler Murray will be starting for Arizona. That's great news because that's huge. We're playing to win.
That's like getting Justin back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need. So hopefully the Cardinals
I feel like that race is gonna come down to week 17 again, man. I think it's gonna be a nail biter. We're going to be on the edge of our seats.
Hopefully we don't have to worry about it. Like if we get it, it's fine. But if the quarterback question,
even if we get it and we still have Justin and he is the guy, but we still get
even
it,
better.
It's a fucking gold line.
But I want one part. Let's control what we control. I'm like, let's Fields be the guy, please. Just be the guy. That's all I want. And then if that's the case and we stumble upon, because that pick's still going to be top 5. You know what I mean? So I'm not tripped about that. But it's like, I don't know about the Justin Fields story and, how that's going to end. So
it's not over yet. It's getting
definitely not.
It's getting close. I mean, that hourglass the sand is running out, of course. But
of course.
Lots to do, man. So
Terry Bradshaw, Hall of Fame quarterback, starting record 9-28. It's what I mean? So I don't know what's going to happen, but the quarterback position is such an intrigue. It's the hardest position in all of sports. So
man, I just want to get it. I just want to get it right. I think Bears fans we deserve it, man. Like, can we not get a damn franchise quarterback, and can we not get some wins? Because this has been a long, almost 2 years of football where it's like we're talking about the draft and we're excited about the draft
again, bro.
September, November, and it's like this is getting old fast. And so, anywho, we're excited about Thursday night.
One last shout out. It's got to be to the Bears fans. They were in New Orleans. They were packed in the streets all the way. So shout out to them as well. Some of our followers on Twitter and that follow the pod, thank you, reached out to me. They were also in New Orleans. So I didn't get to see them, unfortunately. But it was just like seeing all those fans and then,
shame on you,
Bears fans.
You couldn't make time for them.
I know. I was so busy.
Man.
That's my bad. Trust me, there'll be more. At the rate I'm going to games at this point, trust me, you'll have plenty of opportunities. A couple weeks ago,
you said, you know what, I'm not going to any more. At least I'm sticking to it. I'm scarred from that Chiefs game, which shame on me for even trying to go to and be
I like
in there.
Pain, bro. I like pain. I like being sad. I don't know.
Just setting your money on fire and just.
I like watching it burn. You know what I mean?
No,
so
you're a true Bears fan, man.
Unfortunately, but yeah, it was shout out to y'all. It was great. Hopefully, we'll see you. I don't know when I'm going to another game. Probably won't be for a minute, but it'll be good to see y'all next year. Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, anyways, I think that's it. Do we have any questions you want to answer? Or are we good, Ficky?
Let's see. Oh, here's a good one from Axe. Okay. Do you want 100% healthy Fields? What if he's 80% ready?
So after the Panthers game, we get a bye, right? We get a long,
what,
week and a half, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
If he's at 80%,
it's a short. No. It's like a 10-day.
I think that's too. I don't know. I don't like that's too low. 80% is not enough for me. I would probably say 95 and up. I wouldn't want to take 90%. I would say just rest him. That's just me. Selfishly,
the fan of me.
Yeah. If it's like, I don't care. Yeah, 80%, absolutely throw him out there. But it's just like, I don't know, especially gripping the football. That just seems like it could be turnover worthy. Like as far as if he's at 80% and he can kind of grip it, but not consistently, and something slips or it slips a couple times, we could be looking at a Tyson Bagent like stat line, if not worse.
Yep.
And it's the Panthers too. So I don't know. Maybe 80% gets the job done against Carolina, but I don't know. How about you, Ficky?
It's tough, isn't it? If he can't win the game, do not put him in. Do not put him in to fail. You know what I mean? That's not what we want. If you don't think he's healthy enough to win the game, he should not play. Whatever percentage that is, I have no idea, right? But basically, do not set him up to fail. If he can't do it, so be it. As a fan, that sucks, but so be it. That's it. That's like, if he can win the game, put his ass out there. Let's have him win the game.
We got Shane Ward over here going in other news. Craig Counsell to the Cubs.
Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy. Fired.
If this was a Cubs podcast, we'd be talking about that right now.
That's crazy from Milwaukee, and then gave him a deal right away, like $40 million.
And you're a Cubs fan, right?
I am a Cubs fan.
Yeah, I knew that. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a crazy. That came out of nowhere. That was like a Woj bomb when we saw that today. So. And then here's our second question. Do you think Tyson's running is going to be sustainable from game to game now that it's on film for other teams to game plan for? I'll go on this one. I mean, it's just like with Fields. Of course. Tyson's out. This is fourth game, right? So it doesn't mean you can shut off completely. Like if that's his strength, you can't shut off Fields completely from running. But obviously they're going to game plan to it, right? It's going to be harder for him to run now that they have film on him that he was able to run more.
But they're not going to spy him because it was all scramble. So he's going to get his, but it's not going to be because of like how Justin gets his, which is kind of QB designed where he can get you 5 to 10 yards pretty much every time he runs the ball, unless they miss block or something like that. But with Tyson Bagent, I feel like it's always going to be there because most teams won't really game plan for that ability. But they'll know, hey, if he gets out of the pocket, so maybe they'll try to, keep him in, which is harder, easier said than done. So for me, I think he's always going to get those 20 to 50 yards a game. And of course, he got 70 last week, but I think that's at the high.
You're not getting.
He's not going to be breaking a single rushing record like Fields.
Fields didn't even get 70 a game. Like that's not sustainable.
But man, he can move sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. No question about that. And then our final question here for the night is, besides the guy from USC, which is Caleb Williams, who are the other top QB draft options in the 2020 draft? I'm not a fan of Caleb Williams. Too many fumbles and bad attitude. So number 1 and 2, basically 1A and 1B, depending on where you're at, is going to be Caleb Williams and then Drake May, the quarterback for North Carolina. And then 3, I've seen people with J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. You have Drew Aller from... Where's Drew Aller from? I can't remember where he's from. And then also you have he's old, but Bo Nix, right? Balling out in Oregon as well. That's another one in the QB conversation. Trying to think off the top of my head. I'm sure you're pulling up a list, but
yeah, you're nailing a lot of them. JJ McCarthy, I'm not sold. I do not want him in a Bears uniform. I know our guy Jacob Infante likes him, and he always sneaks him in there on his tweets, and I'm like, can we not? Come on, Jacob. Like, I don't know.
Well, with the draft position we have now, he wouldn't be in the question. It'd be Drake. It's either Drake or Caleb where we're picking now.
Yeah. Michael Penix.
Oh, Penix. Yeah, he's an IU. Yeah, that's IU. Now he's in Washington, but when IU had his best football season ever in its history, which is my alum. That's why I say that.
He was the starting quarterback. They're almost in college football playoff.
Yeah, they're like 5 or something.
Right?
Yeah, Michael Penix is crazy. His biggest thing though, and he's been balling out for a minute, like the past 3 years, injury. That boy gets injured. Luckily, he hasn't this year, and knock on wood. But at IU, he got injured all the time. He hasn't had the bug at Washington, which is great. That's why he left, because he just kept getting injured at IU. But I don't think he's expected to go. He's expected like late first. So again, he's not in our realm of who we'd be picking. Where we're picking now, it's really Drake May and Caleb Williams.
Drake May, North Carolina, I don't know. He has 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I mean,
he can sling it though, bro. He's in the pocket. He can throw. He's very accurate, and his thing is he's really good with anticipation.
I'll make a better assumption. We have both of them on the pod, so we can get a better feel. I need to talk to these guys. And see how
fair enough. Well, we'll have to get Jacob on once we get later into the.
Yeah, we'll get him on. We'll get a couple of these draft guys that obviously I've been watching some college football this year, so I've watched a bunch of these quarterbacks, and for some reason I'm just not sold, and maybe it's just because it's not the end of the season, and they still have to kind of finish out both their campaigns for the seasons. But I like Caleb Williams.
He looked good last week. I mean, other than the incident of the crying and whatnot, but when you talk about
no problem with that. I have no problem with the crying. However, I have a problem with there was a tweet of his that
he shaded someone, so you got to get it back. So
where he was laughing, but I'm like. But again, I don't, showing emotion and everything.
No, I don't care about that.
It is it was different. I woke up and I saw that all over Twitter, and I was like, damn, people are really going after this guy for doing that. So either way, Drake May, we're gonna have a lot of conversations probably down the road if Justin does not solidify that he's the guy. We're gonna have this conversation for
every
about
week. He has a bad
days.
game. Yeah, every week he has a bad game. We'll just get closer and closer to this conversation. And then obviously where we're picking at, right? We have a top 2 pick. We're getting one of the two. If we don't have a top 2 pick, we're getting neither unless we trade up. Simple as that.
Yeah. Hey, we almost forgot wins. Where are we at on the season? Are we just staying? Are we staying where we are?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's changed. You keep
2 to 3. 2 to 3 wins.
You can't go negative. I can't go negative. You know what I mean?
We can't go much lower. We can't. They're not taking a win away from us right now.
Exactly. Not that so right now I'm at 2 to. Right now I'm at. That's what I think I said 2 to 4, so that we can win 2 more games, and one of them might be next week.
Yeah. Well, and then Minnesota, except for they traded for Josh Jobs.
Who's balling crazy?
Which that could be a tough game for us now, which is hilariously ironic. So, anyways, Bears lose. It was a fun one, kind of.
It was fun.
Honestly, we could just kind of throw the pod on repeat right now until Justin Fields gets back. But
Fact.
Tyson Bagent, shout out to him. Crazy story, just not the best game. Still think there's a spot for him, especially on the Bears over the next few years. Yep. Shout out to Ficky making this, fitting this in. He is traveling. He is busy. And we're going to be back here in the next under 48 hours
Wednesday
to preview a primetime game, Bears versus Panthers. And I think we're going to actually have a Panthers guy on.
Perfect.
So it'll be fun. Join us there again. Sub to the show, sub to the channel helps, promote the pod. Tell a friend. We appreciate it. And Ficky, I think we're out of here, man.
Absolutely. Peace.